everywhere that I see. It's hood life, the block is hot, cops all around and the guns is out. People on the ground, mothers crying out, and it is what it is. It's hood life. That baby girl all grown up, and she's bad as hell, thick shown up. And she's got an attitude, cause her baby daddy left her when her son was two. Little brother locked, daddy not around, getting stressed out, trying to hold it down. Damn, look at her now, somebody said they seen her doing lap dances cross town. If you from the hood, say, you love living good, say, you rep your hood, say.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another night, another evening with Teresa. And the show title, It Can Be Good in the Hood. And this evening I have a very special guest here. A lot of people know him. He's a very important man in our community. And I'm going to give him the honor. I'm going to let him introduce himself to everybody. So get on the phone, call your friends, call the neighbors, and tell everybody to tune in this evening because we have a message for the young people. And now, without further delay, I'm going to introduce him. His name is Brother Johnny, and I have the honor to say that, and I'm going to let him completely introduce himself. Who are you?
Good afternoon. My name is Student Minister Johnny Muhammad. I am the local representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan here in the city of Springfield. I am the minister of Muhammad's Mosque number 13, and it is an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you for accepting it. I've been trying to get you here for a long time.
Very long time.
Because you also do radio.
Yes, I do. I have a show called Respect for Life that I do every Wednesday at Springfield Technical Community College along with Brother Andrew Keaton. The show is called Respect for Life. We're on every Wednesday at 12 o'clock.
Okay. And what else you do, my brother? The reason I'm asking you because I'm just trying to paint this image. I just want to show people who you are.
Well, I'm also a licensed private detective. I have a private detective agency called Supreme Investigations. And, you know, I am a community activist. I am your brother. I am a servant to our community. I am a husband. I'm a father. I wear many hats.
Wow.
As you can see. I used to coach football. But for the most part, you know, I'm a member of this community. And I'm a servant of this community.
Okay. That is beautiful. That's awesome. That's awesome. And one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on the show as a special guest because you are an example to the young black men that feel that they can't be nothing, they're not going to accomplish nothing, and that the being on the block, that's it. But we know, we've seen from the past that the block has just been nothing but a box. They don't go nowhere. And so you are an example that, a positive role model.
All praise is due to Allah. Well, you know, I had an example in front of me, and that was the Honorable Minister, and that is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know, and if it was not for his great example, God knows where I would be. And, you know, we have a mission in the Nation of Islam, which is called the Resurrection.
Okay.
And it is our mission to go after our people, to show them a better way, and destroy the, I would say, the mentality that they have, such as being on the block is where it's at. But the thing about it, one thing that we can't do, Sister Teresa, is we can't take the block away from them because unfortunately they found that block because they found love there. You know, where they couldn't find love anywhere else, they find it among themselves. You know, so we don't go to our brothers and our sisters and say, listen, you all can't be out here. Because what they did, they found something out there where they couldn't find anywhere else. And it's up to us to make a better way for them so that we can take them out of the block and give them something more positive. And unfortunately, we as a community, we haven't done that. So, you know, I seen something the other day where a gentleman said, it's a shame that we keep allowing our children to go elsewhere to find a job when we're not creating a job for them. So us as women, who have the ability to be entrepreneurs, we should be creating businesses for our children so they don't have to go to anyone else and ask them for a job. They should be able to come to their family and say, can I work for the family business? That's what other families do, and that's something that we should do. So, the block, we all came up off the block.
I'm from the block.
We all came up from, we all have a story about the block.
Yeah.
And, it's by God's grace that we make it off the block.
Yeah.
But the problem is when we make it off the block, Sister Teresa, we have a tendency not to go back to the block.
That's right.
And we have to go back to the block and extend that open hand and pull somebody up off the block.
Right.
And if we did more of that, there wouldn't be nobody else on the block.
Right.
So, I don't condemn the block because, something, if it wasn't for someone coming and extending their hand to me to pull me off the block, God knows where I would be today. So we always have to have that mentality of being saviors for our people and go to the block and not be afraid of the block.
That's right.
And it's unfortunate that many of us are afraid to go to the block.
You're right.
Many of us are afraid to go to the block.
Yeah.
But that's where our people are, and that's where we should be. Because, if us as shepherds, if we consider ourselves shepherds, the sheep are on the block. So we need to go and gather our sheep on the block because the sheep aren't coming to us. So we have to go to the sheep.
I don't mean to put you on the spot by asking you this question, but once, I think it was Nat Turner who was set free, and once he was set free, he went back. He didn't forget about all the people that was left behind, and he went back to get his people. It's like a lot of times, and I feel like this, I've been, I never was involved in cocaine or crack or dope, but I used to smoke weed. I used to get drunk. I used to be out there fighting. I was what I call myself a little gangster. And my street name was T-Rock. But now that I'm 14 years clean, I haven't had weed in 14 years. I haven't had a cigarette in 14 years. I haven't been drunk in 14 years. And so I feel like I still got my friends and my relatives that are still out there smoking the weed. They still doing those things what I, was delivered from 14 years ago. So I feel like it's my duty, my responsibility, my reasonable service to just go out there back to them and be an example. Look, I did it. You can do it. And I think, did you, by me saying I want to put you on the spot, did you ever experience, any addictions like that?
Oh, sure. We've all come from hell, We didn't come up, fall out of heaven. We all came up out of the same hell, And I'm grateful that I met the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, But through that, we have learned to be examples for our people, We don't condemn our people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, don't condemn them, put a clean glass next to them and show them that this can be you, But we have a tendency to condemn our people, and no one really realizes the atrocity that we have suffered as a people. We're only several generations out of slavery, and we have never been cured. We have never been treated. We have never received any type of reparation to deal with that which we have suffered. So we have a lot to deal with. So we should never condemn our people for where they're at. We never know what our mother and fathers have gone through and why they are the way they are. What caused them to drink? What caused them to pick up the drugs? We don't know what they've suffered. We don't know the atrocities that they've been through, So why would we condemn them? It's unfortunate, but many of our family members, they have suffered in substance abuse, but you don't know what drove them to drink or pick up that needle or pick up that drug substance. Many of our sisters have been raped. Some of our young brothers have been raped. You know, so we don't know what traumatized them, and they have not been healed from that. So we should never condemn our brothers or our sisters. We should always try to help them and try to find a way to to right the wrong. You know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given us Dianetics so that we can study and talk to someone so that we can heal from all of the suffering that we have endured in our life. You know, so I'm very grateful for the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because it helped me in my shortcomings in life and helped me become a man. You know, as the scripture says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man, I put away my childish things. So by God's grace, you know, the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has made me a man, made me a responsible husband, a responsible father, a hard worker, a brother, and a warrior for God. So, you know, I'm grateful. I'm truly grateful.
Do you think, I heard, I was in a meeting Tuesday night, and one of the ministers was saying, like, a lot of the problems that we as black people are going through with white police officers shooting the young black men is because they smoke weed.
Because who smoked weed?
The young black men smoke weed. And I was so angered by that statement, because I'm like, you know, I think is that we as people of color, especially the young black men, I think they already they stereotype them. So when they see him, they probably do, you know, oh, he gets that person probably get high, he ain't got a job, and you know, but
Well, there are many stereotypes of the black man and the black woman, but you know, that's not why we're being murdered. Weed just plays a role, but it's not the real reason. We have to realize that there is an open enemy who does not want to see the rise of the black man and woman, and that's what the truth of the matter is, and
Who
why
is
we're
that?
being murdered. You know, we have a natural enemy, and you know that is, you know, those who do not want to see the rise of black people. You know, we don't want to see us become a nation of gods, which we are. You know, the scripture says we are all God's children of the Most High God. Well, if you're a God, then Satan don't want to see that. So, you know, they want to stop the rise. They don't want to see a young black man at his rightful place. So they want to keep him down. See, we don't own boats, we don't own planes, we don't own trains. We don't bring the drugs into our community. How do they get to this country?
by boat, somebody bringing them in.
Of course they're doing. We don't own neither one of them. You know, so how is the drugs getting into our community?
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the war of Afghanistan, one of the first things that the United States Army did was to take over the poppy fields. Now we have this big epidemic of heroin overdoses in America. It wasn't no big deal when it was just the black children dying from heroin overdoses back in Harlem, back in Watts, you know, back in the streets of New Jersey. It was no big deal. But now that the drugs are hitting the suburbs, it's an issue now. But heroin has been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
But how is so much heroin getting to this country when it's the United States Army who is guarding the poppy fields in Afghanistan? It's just time for the American people to actually wake up.
Yeah.
You know, they need to wake up and start asking the serious questions. And then we need to hold our government accountable for the condition of what's going on here in America.
So, what can we do to help? Like you said, being an entrepreneur, it's like me, myself, as a black businesswoman, you know, I've tried 3 times to get a loan. And the city has the loan that they give to the black people, but they denied me a loan 3 times, you know. So I try to make a difference, like have my business and hire a lot of people that people not going to give a chance, and you got to do drug testing. I just was, not asking people to do drug tests. I just was hiring people and, giving people a chance that I know, you know, other places wouldn't give them a chance. But it's like, what else can we do to help the young men? I know what you said earlier too was it's got to be a change.
Yes. The Holy Quran says that God won't change the condition of a people until they first change themselves.
Okay.
We have to change.
You're right.
And for those who don't read the Holy Quran, the Holy Bible says, if my people who are called by my name
Yeah.
would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and heal the land. But the question is if.
If.
God gives us a choice.
Yeah.
He says, if my people would turn from them, I will heal their land. The question is, will you change? Will you turn from your wicked ways? Everybody has free will. Out of all of God's creations, man and woman, he gives free will. And it gives us an opportunity to make a change if we desire. And we have an opportunity as long as we wake up. It's when you don't wake up, you don't have an opportunity to make that change. But the beauty about it, if you do wake up, you always have a chance for God's mercy and God's grace. It's when you don't wake up, when it's all over. But as it relates to helping others to do something, one of the greatest things we can do is unite. Our problem is our unity. We don't unite. Everybody else unites. You can go around the community, you have the Italians, they do what they do. They're united.
Yeah.
The Latino brothers and sisters, they're united.
Yeah.
We're the only family that is disconnected. Everybody else, we go to for whatever it is that we need. We're the number one consumers. We own nothing. We have nothing. We go to everybody else to fulfill our needs. Mm-hmm. And if we were to just unite, we can take care of ourselves. We have a multi-trillion-dollar spending power. We spend it on everything except for us, and we don't spend it with one another. Everybody comes into our community, and we buy from them.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, if we would just open up business for ourselves and get to know one another and love one another and work together, then we could put these young brothers and sisters to work. And yes, they have to change their ways, because, we want to give our people the best service that we have. So you have to change. You have to pull your pants up. You have to take the earring out your nose.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of all the tattoos on your face. You got to do all of that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that, we've became so much a part of society,
Yeah.
So we have to make some changes, in order for us to do good in the hood, as you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know that it has to be a change because I'm trying to see a lot of the young black men are on the blocks and in these hoods. A lot of them are, trying to make money, trying to make a dollar. And I admit some of it, the way they're making it is not legal, and it does draw police, but it's like, I believe just sitting here talking to you that there is hope for.
Oh, of course there is.
There is hope.
Of course there is. But we have to do is go after them and show them and tell them and give them a way out. But when you have a system that is designed to destroy them and no one's reaching out to them, then they have nothing. But if we go out and say, listen, brother, there's a better way. You're making all this money doing illegal drugs, selling illegal drugs, you're killing your people. Stop that. Take that money that you have, instead of buying sneakers and fitted t-shirts and hats, why don't you go and buy that dilapidated property right there and fix it up and become entrepreneur for yourself. Nobody's probably never told them that. Nobody's never told them to pool their resources together because they haven't seen you and I do it. They haven't had a role model. They haven't seen us unite in our community. Church over here, mosque over here, church over here, mosque over there. We're not united.
No,
We
you're
religious gangbang. So why would they want some of that? When they see the adults having religious gangbang, you know, they don't want none of that. They're safe where they're at. So if we would take the time out to leave the mosque, leave the church, and go out into the streets where they are
Yeah.
and teach them, what is that you want to do? Help make a way for them. Then they will be receptive. But they smell fear. They smell fear. They smell game. Game recognize a game. These brothers in the street, they know when you're gaming them. And they know when you're sincere. You know? So you have to be honest with them. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that this is a new generation. It's called the Joshua generation. They're fearless. They're warriors. Men and women.
Yeah.
It's a whole new generation. And they're not going to tolerate that which we have tolerated. We have passed on a legacy of cowardice to our children. In this generation, they're not having it.
They're not having it.
See, this is the generation that our ancestors have prayed for. When we were hanging from the trees, before they took that last breath, they said, one day, there's going to be a people, a young man, a young woman that's going to come out of our people, that's going to revenge us. Not necessarily in a violent way, but that we can be proud of,
Yeah.
that we can look up to, that will become protectors of our women, protectors of our community. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us to make our community a decent and safe place to live. All we need is for the men to stand up and be the men that God creates to be. And then we can change our own reality, but we just have to come together under that one banner of a suffering people and change that reality.
You're right. Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan like you being who you are? Everybody that I know that know you, everybody talks so highly of you, and everybody respect you so highly. And I know that Minister Farrakhan, he's like over you. He's your overseer.
He is the leader of the Nation of Islam,
Is
the national representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Is there going to be another Million Man March? Because I wish that it was, instead of the Million Man, what about the million teenagers? Get a million young black teenagers. If I wish that y'all can get that.
Well, 20 years ago, this past October marked the 20-year anniversary, but in 1995, when we had the march, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan instructed us to bring our sons. And many of those sons now are 20 years old because it's
Okay.
20 years later.
Oh, okay.
So when we went back on 10-10-15, we went back and our sons were grown. So those of us who had children back then, they were a part of it in 10-10-15 that we just came from Washington, D.C. And with all due respect, there will never be another Million Man March.
Why?
Because even the 10-10-15 didn't meet what the Million Man March meant 20 years ago, because I was blessed to be a part of the Million Man March 20 years ago, and it was nothing like it and will never be nothing like it, because it was a glory from God to see 2 million show up from all walks of life to bring. We had fathers, sons, grandfathers, and it was just probably the greatest event in the annals of history. 10-10-15, it was a beautiful event. We had about 700,000 plus people there, and that was everyone. That was including women. But there will never be another Million Man March. I don't think we can ever duplicate that, because that was a one-time event that God blessed us with, and it was just phenomenal. So I'm just saying that out of my own personal opinion.
Okay.
We tried to have a Million Family March, a Million Women's March, to try to duplicate the Million Man March. But, the Million Man March was one of a kind. It was one of a kind.
I just, like you said, that's your personal opinion. I just hope one day that Farrakhan or another leader would um, call for that march again, because I think it's needed for such a time as this.
Well, I don't think we need to march. And even the Myanmar March wasn't really a march. It was just a gathering where we received divine instructions
Yeah.
and commands from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, telling us to atone for our sins, for not being good husbands, not being good fathers, not being men of our community. It wasn't, we didn't march anywhere. We don't believe in marching,
Yeah.
because if you look at those who came before us, who marched in the 60s, they marched singing, "We shall overcome." Well, that was 40 years ago, and we still haven't overcome. You know why we haven't come? Because we didn't put a date on it. They sang the song, "We shall overcome someday." What day? Here it is, 2016, and we still marching, still singing that same old song, and we haven't overcome yet. As a matter of fact, times have gotten worse. So we have to put a time frame on when we're going to overcome. You know, but marching for what? We don't march. We don't sit around and chant, and no, we make things happen. And until we come together as a people and say enough is enough,
Yeah.
and we're not going to put up with it no more, it's going to continue to happen.
Well, maybe another terminology, I'd say march, because that's what I known it for, Million Man March. But I'm saying if someone, a black leader, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, some of these black strong politics, leaders like you, I think someone need to call for a million black men to come together. Maybe not to march, but to stand still and, like you say, get a divine word. A word from God. 2 Chronicles 7:14. You just quoted it. If my people, and we all say we're God's children. So if we're His people, and He has given us instructions what to do, turn from our wicked ways, humble ourselves, and seek His face, and then He can hear from heaven and heal us. So I think a lot of the young men that have not read the Quran, have not read the Bible, they don't have the knowledge. And that's what God said. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And we that have the knowledge and have the wisdom and the knowledge, we're to teach them. And I'm wondering, like, in Springfield, would you, sometime in the future, would you be calling for a meeting for all the young black men?
Well, Sister Teresa, I reach out to young men every day, every week, to come to the mosque, to hear the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Not only I, but members of Muhammad's Mosque number 13. That is our mission. And our lectures are based on the Word of God, and we try to inspire them to not just read it, but to live it.
Yeah.
But to live it. Islam is a way of life, and to carry those words into practice. It's easy to say, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian. Well, that's out your mouth, but what does your actions say you are? So we could say we're this, we're that, but what does your actions say you are? So, we invite people to the mosque every week because it's not a place where our people just freely come. So we have to go out, and that's called the resurrection, to go out and to get our people, to bring them. So we don't pass the brother or the sister we see on the corner. We try to encourage them to come to the mosque with us. So, and that's what we need to do. We got to stop passing each other up on the block and on the street. When we see a young sister walking the street, homeless, see a young brother walking the street aimlessly, with nowhere to go, we need to stop that and bring them to the church, bring them to the mosque. We should never come to the church or to the mosque by ourselves. Everyone
Right.
is should hear the word of God, not just on Sundays, but every day. And being a servant of God, that's our responsibility, to go out and serve the people.
I wish there was some kind of like common ground, because a lot of people like don't want to be religious, so a lot of people, even though the invitation is extended out to them every day, every week to come to the mosque, I invite them to the church. And they don't want to come to the church. They don't want to come to the mosque. But like you say, we have to go out there. We can't just sit inside the pretty stained glass windows and teach and preach to ourselves. We got to go out there. But I think it should be somewhere out there, a meeting at D-Berry, a meeting at Magazine Park, calling all these young men and teach them that. I think a lot of the police brutality is because the young men they don't have a learned behavior. They're not taught. When the police officer pull you over, you supposed to humble yourself. I know they're going to probably strip you of your rights by, why am I being stopped? None of your business. But they have to learn to remain calm. I know as a black man, it hurts when you're being yelled at, you feel you're being discriminated. But today, times have changed. They like you said, this is a stronger generation, a Joshua generation. But they're going to have to learn that they got to submit, because a lot of the young black men that got killed, I seen a lot of them running.
Well, when you have a police force, that wears a badge, same as the slave catchers used to wear, back during slavery, you'd be afraid. When you see all that's happening around the country,
Yeah.
young black men, young black women are afraid because, they don't see justice for us as a people. So, it's up to us to go out and educate our people.
Right.
That's why it's important for us to be examples. Those buildings, the mosque, the church, that's just a building,
Right.
okay? This is the temple of God.
Right.
We have to bring the temple to them.
Right.
We have to bring the house of God to them. The churches and the buildings, they're never going nowhere. They're going to stay right there.
Yeah.
But this right here, you could bring to the people, because this is the true temple of God. Those buildings that we worship in or that we have service in, they're man-made. But this was made by God.
Right.
So, we have to go to the people where they're at, and we have to meet them where they're at. We can't think that we're better than them.
Exactly.
We have to get down in the muck, in the mire. We have to get down on the street corner. We have to sit on the curb.
Right.
We have to get to them wherever they are. We have to humble ourselves if we're going to be servants for the people. We
Right.
can't think we're greater than they are.
Right.
We have to humble ourselves and get down to where they are.
Yeah, I agree. So I hope, I thank you so much for coming on the show and, expressing your feeling and speaking out. And I hope you can come back another time and we can continue this. And I appreciate, and I'm just hoping, because me being a mother to 6 sons, I got 6 sons and I got 10 grandsons. So that's 18, 16, I got 30 grandchildren.
Wow.
So that's a lot for me with all these sons and daughters, and having a daughter already shot in the head. It's like, I'm like, I guess like I said, I'm almost traumatized by what's going on, and I'm just hoping that you as a leader and Bud Williams, all the black leaders, y'all can, call for a meeting with the young black men and let them know this is the time. Y'all are gonna just have to just
Well,
calm down.
I think a lot of the young men are getting it because we have
Yeah.
reached out to a lot of them,
Yeah,
and they
I
are
see
getting
you
it.
are.
They are getting
Yeah.
some knowledge, some wisdom, some understanding,
Yeah.
and we just got to continue to work, and we're going to work. The followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, are working very hard in our community to make it a decent and safe place to live.
Okay.
And as long as we continue to do that, I honestly believe that God is going to heal our land
I believe that
and
too.
our community.
I believe that too.
So I thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to another invitation,
Okay.
God willing.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if anyone have any questions, you want to call me, you feel free. My number is 413-777-3257. And I invite those who want to hear more from Minister Johnny, go to the mosque. What's the address?
727 State Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. Phone number is 827-7691. 727 State Street, Muhammad's Mosque, number 13. Phone number 827-7691. May Allah bless you.
And thank everybody for tuning in this evening. And we'll be back again. And I'm Teresa. And to the youth, I'm T-Rock. And remember, it can be good in the hood. Thank you.
Just another day in the hood for me. Trying to make $1 for my family. People hustling up and down the street. Everywhere that I see is hood life. The block is hot, cops all around and the guns is out. People on the ground, mothers crying out. And it is what it is. It's hood life. Baby girl all grown up. And she's bad as hell, thick shown up. And she's got an attitude, cause her baby daddy left her when her son was 2. Little brother locked, daddy not around, getting stressed out, trying to hold it down. Damn, look at her now, somebody said they seen her doing lap dances cross town. If you from the hood, say, you love living good, say, you rep your hood, say.